"1,300 years ago, a force came out of the east. It started among simple people like these, with the word of a young Arab tribesman, Mohammed, who claimed to have received a message from God. The message was Islam, or surrender to God. Within 100 years, the light of Islam had spread around the world. No other religion had ever grown so fast. To these people, Islam was more than a religion. It offered them a set of rules that would govern every aspect of their lives. Home life, the family, politics, law and order were all part of the message of Islam.
Death of the Prophet Muhammad in 632. Following the death of the Prophet Muhammad in 632, Islam fell immediately into a period which he had already predicted, a period of division and disaccord. The Prophet Muhammad had said, "The followers of Moses will be divided into 71 fractions, and the followers of Jesus into 72, but my followers will be divided into 73 fractions, out of which, at the end of time, during the last judgment, only one branch will return to me. But how can we know which fraction is that which will return into the arms of the Prophet?" The first thing to understand is how Islam came to being divided into 73 fractions. The first major division was brought about by the jostling for succession following the Prophet's death. Hazrat Ali, the Prophet's cousin and husband of his daughter Fatima, was judged by many to be the rightful heir to the leadership of Islam, and in many texts it is stated that the Prophet had verbally named Ali as his successor. Unfortunately, many of those close to the Prophet did not agree, and this succession was strongly contested, particularly by Abu Bakr, one of the Prophet's companions and father of Aisha, the Prophet's second wife. This brought about the beginnings of the first major separation, with on one side the Shias, meaning family, professing allegiance to the Prophet's family as those who had divinity within them, and on the other side the Sunnites, meaning tradition, those giving allegiance to a political kind of succession.
Was not written by Muhammad Shah, you know that, because he did not know how to read and write. So he told about it to his friends, who also did not know how to read and write. So then, the children of these, we should say his friends, they were educated, and after 40 years, after the death of Hazrat Muhammad Shah, we can say the Quran was written. At that time, before that, a big problem started. Because you are all Shias, I am quite happy to tell you about what happened. That Abu Bakr became the head of the Islam, Abu Bakr. And he was a fundamentalist. Actually, it was Hazrat Ali who had to become the head. Ali had to become. But somehow or other Abu Bakr managed, he was a very ambitious man, to become the head of the Islam. It's a history, I am telling you. Now, when he became, he tried to argue with Hazrat Ali. And he said that whatever written in the Quran is all right, and he added his own things also to it. Now Hazrat Ali, you know, had a fight with him. I know the whole history about it. because my father translated Quran into Hindi language. So I've read Quran also, quite nicely. Now what happened? It's a history where the turning point took place. As you know, Hazrat Ali became head, but later on he was killed, and his two sons were killed. And the wife of Muhammad Sahib, Aisha, was told that you will go and fight against the truth, and you will know it when the dogs will bark. So when she went on the other side, it's called as Hawa. It happened. And dogs started barking, but still she didn't listen. And she went and told the other side of the people that whatever is Abu Bakr saying is all right. You listen to Abu Bakr. So the rift started that time. And as you know, later on, Hassan and Hussein both were killed in Karbala. That's how Shia and Sunni two parties started. I must say, thank God you are Shias, because Shia believe in many things which are the truth.
And so it came to pass that Ali was put aside, and Abu Bakr became the first Caliph, successor to the Prophet, reigning for 2 years until his natural death. At the time of Abu Bakr's rise to power, the Prophet's daughter made very public statements denouncing him, and a very well-known plea at the grave of her father, asking him why he had left them in such a situation. Abu Bakr quickly did what he could to suppress the family, and he confiscated all their wealth and belongings. During Abu Bakr's reign, Islam spread out over Oman, the Arab Emirates, and part of Israel. Following Abu Bakr came the Caliphate of Oman, and we can see his many conquests which took Islam into Syria, Iran, and Turkey. Oman reigned for 10 years until his assassination. The third Caliph was Osman, and his reign was very fruitful for the spread of Islam, reaching the entirety of Iran, Iraq, Libya, Egypt, Tunisia, Afghanistan, and even Russia. He in his turn was assassinated amongst much internal strife and bickering. The Shiites had already refused all allegiance to the Osman dynasty and had accused them of falsifying the Quran by taking out references made by Hazrat Ali. It was finally in 556 that Ali gained his rightful place at the head of Islam. Even though all the Prophet's direct companions were dead and gone, the political climate was very turbulent, and the Sunnite factions, already well used to being in control, were not ready to let Ali rule in peace. In particular, there was Muawiyah, the cousin of Osman, who did all in his power to see the downfall of Ali and to install himself at the head of Islam. He succeeded by arranging for the killing of Ali, which was carried out with a poisoned sword during a battle. The Shias continued in their adherence to the succession of Imams, and a series of 11 Imams were the spiritual leaders of Shiite Islam, until 878, when the 12th and final Imam was born. On the other side, Muawiyah had become the Caliph, and a very Arab version of Islam was continuously pushed wherever possible. The Caliph was at the same time the spiritual leader, political leader, and head of the army. Sunnism took on a more external aspect: law, government, crusade, while Shiism, adopted by Persia, much of Iraq, and other pockets in the Arab world as their religion, turned inwards to the more mystical side of Islam. After the death of Muawiyah, his son Yazd came into power and took it upon himself to rid the Muslim world of the remaining direct members of the Prophet's family. Ali's son Hussein was thus killed, cruelly ambushed at Karbala and murdered along with 72 members of his family and entourage, including women and children. His brother Hussein was also killed sometime later. This was the last straw for the Shiites, and the rupture was final between the two factions. The conquests and warring of the various Islamic factions and branches continued up until the last Khalifa of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman dynasty saw the spread of Islam up into Europe, France, Hungary, Spain, and well into Russia. They conquered the Mughals, North Africa, and Persia, and it seemed that the early caliph's dream of a Muslim world was becoming a reality. Until the 18th century, when the Christians began to regain much of their territory, the Ottoman Empire was one of the most widespread empires ever known in the world after the Romans. By the end of the First World War, however, the Ottoman Empire had been just about dismantled. This brings us into the present day, where Islam is followed by 1.2 billion people worldwide. The 12 million Shiites find themselves predominantly in Iran, Oman, Bahrain, Iraq, Yemen, Afghanistan, and Turkey. Smaller communities also exist in Syria, Pakistan, India, Saudi Arabia, and various former Russian states. Sunnites account for 90% of all Muslims, and Shiites for only 10%. And within these two groups there are indeed as many fractions as Muhammad had predicted. Even though the days of open crusade and cruel conversion are over, there remains a mentality that Islam is the only true religion and all should be converted despite Muhammad's respect for Christianity and Judaism. Unfortunately today, it seems that wherever there is a strong Muslim population, trouble, social unrest, and even outright violence will also be found, as we can see by the flames marking trouble spots in today's world. We will interest ourselves with the Shiite branch of Islam, as they kept an inward and more devotional orientation to their religion, and have a spiritual heritage which leads them to a belief that a Messiah will return at the time of Last Judgment, and this Messiah is the 12th Imam, previously mentioned, known as Mahdi.